Extractive, sustainable, and regenerative are three stages in the evolution. We can have extractive economies, sustainable economies, and regenerative economies, and also extractive societies, sustainable societies, and regenerative societies. In extractive societies, we're taking out from the earth, we're taking out the oil, we're degrading the land to mine for materials for our products. Sustainability is focusing on not creating more waste so that we're recycling everything and we're using renewable energies. Regenerative is actually regenerating the earth. So as we've degraded the soil, we can regenerate it. As we've destroyed our wetlands and our forests, we can regenerate those. And this three-part categorization can be applied to water. So extractive water is where we take out of the groundwater. So that in California, we've been depleting the groundwater. So Central California is actually dropping inches each year because so much water is being taken out for the farms there. And same with the Midwest with the Ogallala Aquifer. So that's rapidly depleting. Sustainable water use is really being conservative with our water use so that we're not planting crops that use huge amounts of water. We're being conservative with how we use the water in our daily lives, how factories can be more sustainable in their water usage. Regenerative water is understanding that we can actually bring back water to the land. So in California, say, the rainfall has been decreasing decade by decade, and so is in Spain. And meteorologist Milan has shown in Spain how the land use change by paving over nature and by degrading the soil. There's less evapotranspiration, which means less water vapor entering the air to add to the humidity from the ocean to create storms. And so there's less rainfall now over the Mediterranean. So we can regenerate this water. So regenerative water is bringing that water back into the land, and that will help lessen fires and droughts. And so extractive water is taking water out of our groundwater reservoirs. Sustainable water is being really conservative in our usage, and regenerative water is actually realizing we can bring water back into the landscape and rehydrate it. Our current modern farming methods use extractive water principles in the sense that there's a lot of water extracted from the groundwater table. And also it's based on funneling all the water from the dams. So the dams are diverting water that might hydrate other parts of the landscape and then funneling to the farms. And then the farms themselves are not using the water very efficiently, so that whenever the soils get too wet, there's tile drainage, these pipes underneath the soil that will funnel that water out. So because the crops, if they get too much water, then they don't grow as well. So there's constantly funneling water out of the farms to the rivers and then runs off to the ocean. So there's a net loss based on this dam, aqueduct, farm system that funnels the water out of the landscape. More sustainable farming will really learn to use better soils and have wetlands to kind of to store the water and not have it all drain out from the farm, because as the soil gets better, it actually is able to hold more water. Regenerative water usage on these farms would be understanding that when there's large rainfalls in the winter or in the wet season, that water can be diverted from the rivers, say, onto the land, and you can flood the farms with water so that it can refill the groundwaters that's being depleted. So these practices are actually being tried out in Central California, where certain farms will do these practices to help try and begin to recharge the aquifers again. So it's working to regenerate the aquifers.